Hey guys, this lecture is about thesis statements, more specifically how to generate a complex thesis statement. This is the first step of a secondary source paper. It is imperative that you figure out what you want to say about your primary source before you engage with what others have said about your primary source. It is much easier to engage with others and to enter this scholarly conversation when you have a fully developed argument. So in class, we have been using the terms literary elements and devices, but we have mainly been focusing on motifs, and we also, at the beginning of the year, we focused on narration. But you can talk about these things together. So for instance, you have the narrator, and you also have speech and dialogue, and you see this in A Dill Pickle by Catherine Mansfield. And this was actually a question on your exam, right? So why is the narrator psychologically close to Vera, but then the dialogue is dominated by the man? You can also look at not just conflict in the story, but you can analyze how that conflict is resolved, right? And why the resolution of that conflict may be fitting. What is implied by that particular resolution being used to solve this particular conflict? Does it stem from a particular cultural belief? Does it challenge a cultural belief? Right, so this is where you can start bringing in some historical background. So one way to add complexity to your thesis is to not just focus on one element or device, but to analyze two or more and think about how they develop the same theme. Another way to add complexity to your argument is to keep asking the so what question. Right, so that so what question is, why does this matter? Why should I care? And you want to ask that 3 times. So I'm going to walk you through a quick example. So the example thesis that we have here is one that can be pushed further. So this is a thesis where I would comment, add complexity to your argument, develop your argument further, or keep asking so what. I'm going to read this example thesis out loud to you, and then we'll go to the next slide, and I'm going to answer the first so what. So the thesis reads, the slave woman and the Arenuez's beliefs about how to respond to wrongdoing demonstrates how revenge is a human instinct that can lead to a never-ending cycle of violence. So I'm going to ask myself literally, so what? Why does it matter? Why does it matter that revenge is a human instinct in this play? Why does it matter that this play suggests that revenge will lead to violence, and because revenge is a human instinct, that means violence will never end? So my answer to that is very simply, revenge is an instinct, so it can never go away. It's always going to be there. Then I'm going to ask, so what, one more time. Why does it matter that our instinct for revenge will never actually disappear? My answer to this question is that revenge leads to violence, so then violence too will never end. Violence will never disappear from the world. And I'm going to ask my so what question one more time, and you can keep asking this question however many times you need to. I would just recommend that you answer it a minimum of 3 times. So the last time, so what, why does this matter? Why does it matter that revenge is our natural instinct and that revenge leads to violence? So if revenge is an instinct and it will never disappear from us, violence will also never disappear from this world. Well, I can think about the play. Right? Athens makes this progression towards democracy, towards civilization. It gets rid of violence and as a solution to resolve a conflict. However, if I'm arguing that revenge is still an instinct, and that because revenge leads to violence, violence also is an instinct for us, it's something that we desire, there's a conflict there. Right? We see that the city has become more democratized, become more civilized, but humans, there still seems to be this very primal side to us. So then I can revise my thesis based off the so what question. And I think a lot of you guys wonder, okay, how in the world am I supposed to incorporate all my 3 answers to the so what question into one thesis? That's not the point. Asking the 3 questions of so what, so what, so what is to just help you progress your thoughts, to develop your thoughts, to delve deeper into your argument. You don't literally have to include every single answer to each so what question into your thesis. So here's an example of the revised thesis. The slave woman and the Arenuez's reliance on retributive justice demonstrates how even though society becomes more civilized, humans' natural tendency for revenge and violence will always remain. If you're having some trouble asking and answering the so what question, why does this matter? There are some question starters and templates that I've listed for you that can help you prompt your thinking to get to that deeper level. So the first one is, what is a counter argument? That doesn't mean you have to address the counter argument in your thesis statement. It just gets you thinking more complexly. Is there a way that I can further develop my argument to address the counter argument I just imagined? You can also just ask simply, why does blank happen? If you assert that the Renuezes and the slave woman, that they respond to wrongdoing with violence, you can ask why. Why do they do that? Another example, or another question you can ask is, why does blank happen despite something else happening that's maybe meant to alleviate or resolve that issue? So again, going back to our example, the initial thesis that we had to revise, you can ask, okay, why do the slave women, why do the Renuez, why do they still resort to violence despite Athens' progression towards civilization and democracy? You can also ask, and this is similar to a counter-argument approach, is your assertion always the case, right? Why does your argument stand? You can also consider the implications, the consequences of your argument, right? So based off of what you're arguing, what does that suggest for, how does that affect blank? What does it imply for blank? You can ask what causes, so this is similar to why does something happen, what notion is challenged, so maybe the society believes one thing, but based off of what you're analyzing in the text, this actually seems to be the answer, so maybe it's the author providing commentary on what is happening in his or her current society. You can also, and this is something that I definitely encourage you to do if you are looking at more than one element or more than one device or one element and one device, is what is the relationship between them? And also, what is the relationship between the element that you're looking at and the theme? Maybe it's more than just the author suggests, right? Again, is the author challenging? Is the author critiquing? Is the author progressing some sort of idea that maybe the audience or the characters are not accustomed to? So let's say you got the comment on your essay that there's a lot going on in your thesis. You have a lot of ideas. I probably wrote that because the relationship between all those ideas, between all the elements and devices that you are analyzing, the relationship between them is not clear. It's not clear how all these parts come together to develop that same theme. Previous slide and look at these question starters and templates to help. So what I would like you to do now is to read this example thesis that I'm outlining in blue right now. This is the thesis that you're going to be looking at, and I want you to develop the complexity of it by asking the so what question 3 times. You can do this in Notability, you can do it on a sheet of paper, you can do it in the extra space on the slide here. And if you're having trouble thinking about the answer to the so what question, if you don't know why this matters, you can go ahead and look at the question templates on the previous slide to prompt your thinking. At the start of class tomorrow, I'm going to expect that you have your revised thesis, that you are able to show me your answers to the 3 so what questions, and that you're able to explain what parts of this original thesis were developed further in your revised thesis. In other words, how is your revised thesis more complex than this original one? I look forward to reading your results tomorrow. I'm excited to see what you guys come up with and to just see your thought process. If you have any questions, let me know. I'll be available in the morning during homeroom, so if you want to go over this one-on-one, just feel free to stop by. I'll be in the English office or I'll be in the classroom.